Hello Year 8, it's Miss Durkin here. So I'm putting together for you a bit of a follow-up activity on your current theme of home life, on family and avoir, that really important verb. This is following on from your Teams lesson that you will have had with your French teacher at some point this week. So we'll start with a little bit of revision about family vocabulary. So with this, we'll have to ignore where it says group work, unless you can work in groups at home at the moment. Some of these family puzzles that I'm sure you've had go at in the past. So let's go through this one as an example. La sœur de mon oncle literally means the sister of my uncle, which is of course really bad word order in the English language. So we wouldn't say the sister of my uncle, we would say my uncle's sister. Then we need to think, who's my uncle's sister? Okay, my uncle's sister's my mother. And then we need to put it into French, which is, of course, ma mère. So the answer would be, for this puzzle here, la sœur de mon oncle, the sister of my uncle, the answer in French would be ma mère. Okay, so I'm going to leave you with a few of these puzzles. Now we've been through an example. So here's a few. So we've done the first one together. La sœur de mon oncle, we've established, is ma mère, because it's the sister of my uncle. That's my uncle's sister. And if we then put ourselves into that correct place, the uncle's sister is of course your mother, which in French is ma mère. Pardon my awful handwriting there. Please can you pause the PowerPoint video here and have a go for yourself, and then I will go through some answers with you. Okay, so I'm going to talk you through some of the answers then. The second one here, la femme de mon oncle is the wife of my uncle. Be very careful with the pronunciation of this word here I've underlined. Although it's spelled F-E-M, like female, feminine, which is a nice way of remembering it might mean wife, we actually pronounce it la femme. Can't explain why, you just do. So la femme de mon oncle, the wife of my uncle. The answer to that one, guys, would be wife of my uncle, uncle's wife, my auntie, ma tante. Well done if you got that one. Okay, number 3, this one here, le frère de mon père is the brother of my father. So that's my dad's brother, that's my uncle, so it would be mon oncle. The 4th one, le père de mon père, which is my dad's dad, that's mon grand-père. The next one, le fils de ma tante, is the son of my auntie. So this word here that I'm underline the most difficult ones for you. That we know that students would remember less naturally. So le fils is son. So the son of my auntie's son, that would be my cousin. And it has to be the masculine version of cousin because it's le, isn't it? And it's the son. And the masculine version of cousin is actually spelt exactly the same, as I'm trying to scribble here for you. There we go. As English, but we say le cousin. Okay, sometimes when we have spellings that are exactly the same as English, we slip into our English pronunciation, but we don't want to hear le cousin. Okay, next one. This one, les parents de mes parents is the parents of my parents, which is my parents, which is mes grands-parents. And the last one on the puzzle slide, we've got la fille de ma mère, which is the daughter of my mum. Well, my mum's daughter would be my sister, so the answer is ma sœur, my sister, ma sœur. Okay, let's move on. There's the answers there for you to have a look at visually in case you missed it and you don't want to rewind. And off we go. Okay, so here we have a bit of a check for you. I'm going to encourage you, please, to pause the PowerPoint video in a second and try and write out the whole of the verb avoir in full. So I have, you have, he has, she has, one has, we have, you have, and they have, and they have. This is the full verb of avoir, which means to have, as you can see there in red, and it is one of the most important verbs. If you haven't been subjected to one of our students' creative homework clips from years ago, this young man's just left us, then you will be shortly, and you'll probably have been shown it quite a few times. So I'm not going to chant it at you yet. I am in a minute. I'm not going to chant it at you yet because I want you to pause the PowerPoint video and try and write out the whole verb of avoir, please. Starting with I have, which you should be quite confident with. Now, if you can't remember the verb, I don't want you to just not have a go. I want you to, don't cheat, don't go on to the next slide, don't press play and carry on just yet. Research it. You're far more likely to remember it if you go and look it up yourself on Google or go and find a clip on YouTube and then have a go. So I'm sure, just to get you all started, you all remember that we say I have. Do you remember how to say I have 11 years? I have a pen, I have a brother. Ooh, just to get you started, there's the first one, probably the easiest one and probably the most important because you're more likely to talk about yourself, aren't you? So pause and complete the whole verb for me. Okay, year 8, I'm going to move on and show you the answer to the whole verb of avoir. There we go. And now I'm going to chant at you whether you like it or not. J'ai, tu as, il a, elle a, on a. Nous avons, vous avez, ils ont, elles ont. J'ai, tu as, il a, elle a, on a. Nous avons, vous avez, ils ont, elles ont. And I'll stop there because I think putting you through that twice is probably more than enough. If you've heard that chant before, you're probably either chanting along with me or tempted to chant along with me because it really has stuck in a lot of our learners' heads and brains and memories, and that is brilliant because, as I've said, this is one of the most important verbs which we're now going to practice. Okay, so using lots of different sentence starters there, and you get loads more credit and loads more marks if you can not just talk about yourself all the time. So using je is fine. So j'ai in that top one, that's okay. But if you can say we have and she has and they have, you're going to get more credit for showing us that you can adapt the verb ending and you can talk about different people. Right, another pause the PowerPoint task. I'd like you to do this as a translation, please, and then I'll talk you through all 8 translations. So what we're revising here, as you can see from the title, is family members, numbers. I haven't just gone for obvious numbers like 2, 3, 1. I've put some larger numbers in there because we always need to revise numbers, and of course the verb avoir. So pause and translate. And I'm going to talk you through the answers, okay? So the top one, j'ai 60 sœurs, is I have 60 sisters. The second one, so we've done that one, the second one here, nous avons 24 cousins, is we have 24 cousins. This one here, il a 33 tantes, is he has 33 aunties. And now we're on this one, elle a 10 filles, she has 10 daughters. Then, elle a 6 fils, she has 6 sons. Next one, j'ai 9 frères, bit easier this one, I have 9 brothers. Then we have this one, ils ont 100 enfants, which is they have 100 children. And finally, I never said it was realistic. Last one, elles ont 15 neveux. What you have for that one is they have 15 nephews. So I'd just like to have a quick word about these two, and particularly these words here. They both translated as they have 100 children, they have 15 nephews. Okay, ils ont is when it's either just males or a mixture. Okay, and elles ont is when you're only talking about a group of females, and well done if you called that out before I told you the answer. Moving on. Okay, so now it's another pause the PowerPoint task. I would like you to pause the PowerPoint. Don't cheat by going back, and you will find that in each of those sentences there are a couple of errors. So I'd like you to focus now on your accuracy, spelling, verb endings, accents perhaps. And also, I must point out there's some basic literacy in here as well. Okay, so I would like you all to add what I haven't, which is a full stop, onto the end of every sentence. That can be part of our correcting Miss Durkin task. Okay, so pause and correct. I'm going to do the first, I think I've done 2, maybe 3 examples on the next slide. So Pause and just focus on the top 2 or 3, and then I'll talk you through those that if you don't quite get it, you'll know what you need to do for the rest. So here's the answers to just the top couple. Yeah, I've done 3 for you. So at the top, there you have, j'ai 60 sœurs. I had spelt 60 wrong. I'd missed the E off the end, as you can see there. Should have. I'm going to be really fussy here because all your teachers would be naturally adding a full stop on the end, which I've not. Bad mistake. Okay, number 2. Nous avons 24 cousins. We need the full stop. And I missed the S off the end of avant. It is silent, but in your spelling, guys, that must be there. Okay. And the third example that I've done for you before I'll ask you to pause and do the rest. Il a 33 tantes. I misspelled. I put the O and the I the wrong way around in the number 3, which is a funny spelling as it is, isn't it, for 3, 3. Il a 33 tantes. Right, pause and do the rest, please. Do the remaining 5 answers coming up. And here are your answers. There they are. So all of the answers there are highlighted in green. So on the 4th one, elle a 10 filles, we translated it a moment ago, she has 10 daughters. That I'd put an S there, which should not have been there. And then I'd spelled L wrong. I'd done some spelling mistakes in the number 9, neuf. Loads of my pupils get the E and the U the wrong way around. Please don't add yourself to that list. I said accents might play a part here. On frère, we needed to add an accent. Please have a look what direction it goes in. It's called an accent grave, and it's going to the left. Then ils en sont, enfants. I'd spelt it how you pronounce it, but it's actually spelt with an A. And on the final one, elles ont 15 neveux. I've made a complete mess of that final one. If you want to go back a little bit in the video and see what I did, which was horrific, please feel free to do so. And before I move on, I'm annoyingly maybe adding the full stop onto the end of all of those sentences because they should all have full stops and I want it to be perfect. Okay, let's move on. Right then, so we're just going to finish actually this short PowerPoint video session with a little bit more translation, but with a reminder of our level criteria really. So single words year 8, so by heart or copying single words, that's just a level 1. So depending on your accuracy, it might be a 1C, 1B, 1A, okay? As soon as you can start to remember things off by heart, you're creeping into level 2. And when you can do simple sentences like j'ai un frère, I have a brother, ma mère s'appelle Mary, my mum's called Mary, they're level 2 sentences because they're short and they don't have anything particularly special about them, okay? If you want to get level 3, you have to add opinions. Please look at the next and final slide. Okay, so ordinarily we would play this as a points game in class. So let's just have a look at this top left-hand speech bubble. Top left, it says, j'aime mon père. I'm going to ask you to translate these, and I'd like you to do these into your French exercise books, okay? The translation of that first one, the only example that I'm going to do for you, j'aime mon père, is I like my father, or I like my dad, okay? So that's the translation. The good news is, even though that is quite straightforward, it's quite easy, j'aime mon père, I like my father, that's level 3. You've crept into that level 3 because you've given an opinion, even though giving an opinion can be really short and sweet. I mean, look at this one. That's level 3. There's nothing amazing about it, but because you've given an opinion, level 3. Okay, right, this is what I would like you to do. There are six on there that are French, that I've typed in French. You need to copy those into your French book in French, year 8, and put them into English, okay? And then what you've got there is 6 examples of fairly nice level 3 opinion sentences with the topic of family. Then I would like you, please, to copy the 3 that are actually here, 1, 2, 3. I'd like you to copy the English there. I love my auntie, hate my cousin, like my grandmother, and I'd like you yourself to put those into French. And what you're doing there is you're showing that you can produce French yourself at a level 3 standard. And the accurate it is, the better. It'll be the difference between 3C, 3B, 3A, and also varying your opinion sentence starters. Okay, so I would like you to do that into your books. Good luck with it, and we all look forward to seeing you back in school very, very shortly.